is by Jamalamedaka Srinivas ji. It is on environmental concepts from Bhavishya Purana. About Jamalamedaka Srinivas ji. Jamalamedaka Srinivas Garu is a great Vedic scholar, Shastric scholar. He has given the topmost exam of Tarka called Tenali Pariksha, which is also supported by Indic Academy. And he is a student of great Manidravida Shastri Garu. And now he is a student of Advaita Vedanta. And he participates in the traditional Vakyartha arguments and debates, traditional system of arguments. We are lucky to have such a great traditional Vedic and Shastric scholar to discuss about this contemporary topic called environmentalism. Sir, over to you.
ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। I first of all thank Harikiran Vadlamani Garu and Nagaraj Paturi sir for giving me this opportunity to present a paper on environmental concepts from Bhavishya Purana. So so I wish to just explain some of the concepts from Bhavishya Purana. Before that, I wish to just give a small introduction to what is Purana and how many Puranas are there, and then I'll get into the. So there is this shloka which encapsulates all the 18 Mahapuranas written by Maharshi Vyasa. Madvayam Bhadvayam Chaiva Bratrayam Vachatushtajam Anapalinga Kuskani Puranani Prachakshate. So here there are two Puranas that start with Makara, that is Matsya Purana and Markandeya Purana, and two Puranas with Bhakara, Bhavishya Purana and Bhagavata Purana, and three Puranas with the word, the syllable Bra, Brahma Purana, Brahmanda Purana and Brahma Vaivarta Purana. And there are four Puranas that start with the syllable Va, Vamana, Varaha, Vishnu and Vayu Puranas. And Agni Purana, Narada Purana, Padma Purana, Linga Purana, Garuda Purana, Kurma Purana and Skanda Purana. So these are 18 Mahapuranas written by Vyasa. And we have a definition for Puranas. So that is Sargascha, Pratisargascha, Vamsho, Manvantaranicha, Vamsanu Charitancheti Puranam Panchalakshanam. So in all these Puranas, these are there are 6 commonalities that define that this is a Purana. That is Sarga, that is called as primary creation. Pratisarga. Pratisarga is something which happens after Avantara Pralaya. So secondary destruction, after a secondary destruction, secondary creation. And again, there are some lineages, Vamshas, like Surya Vamsha, Chandra Vamsha, Agni Vamsha, and etc. And then Manvantara, regarding 14 Manus, and regarding their period of time. And Vamshanu Charitam. This is one thing that we actually miss in the Puranas, that Puranas are our ancient historical chronicles. So the kings who have ruled Bharatavarsha are dealt in the Puranas, but we totally skip that and forget that part of it and call them as myth and etc. But yes, we do have lineages of kings. So coming to the Bhavishya Purana at present, so that is which is my topic, where my topic is related to. Bhavishya Purana is divided into 4 parvas, that is Brahma Parva, Madhyama Parva, Pratisarga Parva and Uttara Parva. So Brahma Parva has 216 adhyayas. Madhyama Parva is divided into 3 bhagas. First bhaga has 21 adhyayas, second bhaga has 20 adhyayas, and third bhaga has 20 adhyayas. And the current concepts of environmental concepts, which I am now going to explain, they do belong to the third bhaga of the Madhyama Parva. And there is Pratisarga Parva. And the Pratisarga Parva is divided into 4 khandas. First khanda has 7 adhyayas, second khanda has 35 adhyayas, third khanda has 32, and fourth 26. And then Uttara Parva is the last one, and it has 208 adhyayas. So what do what is the uniqueness of each and every Purana, because we know what are the commonalities, that the common features of the Purana discussed in the through the previous shloka. The uniqueness is that in all these other aspects, they deal with many cultural practices that even today we actually practice. For instance, Raksha Bandhan is a very famous festival and a very famous practice even today, which we practice. So that is regarding Raksha Bandhan. The story behind Raksha Bandhan and etc. are discussed in Uttara Parva of Bhavishya Purana. So in one adhyaya, there is the story and the explanation of why Raksha Bandhan has started and etc. In like these ways, there are many other cultural aspects that are treasured in these Puranas. So, so to understand the Indic essence behind the practices that which we follow even today, can be found in all these Puranas. So coming to environmental concepts, before going to the environmental concepts, I wish to explore the concept of karma according to Indian that is Sanatana philosophy. So if you take karma, it is a layered, it has many layers to it. That is, in the peripheral this thing layer, that could be bhautika. The inner layer to that bhautika could be daivika, and inner layer to that could be adhyatmika, and finally the core is paramarthika. So what is bhautika? So if for suppose digging a pond and consecrating a building a garden or creating a garden in something, it has a bhautika aspect to it in the first layer. That is, a bhautika aspect is you create a pond, so water is there, so it quenches thirst to human beings or animals or etc. That is the bhautika part of it. So to the bhautika part, there is an inner layer called as daivika. That is, you have something you attach with it with a divine something divine to it. So that is why a person who establishes a pond, the reward for establishing a pond is swarga, something like that. So a papam and punyam, if you violate something, again papam is there. If you do something something good, punyam is attached to it. So here comes the daivika aspect of that karma. And adhyatmika is something related to karma yoga. That is, you detach the relation of phala or reward with the karma, so that it becomes nishkama karma, and it will lead to chitta shuddhi. So chitta shuddhi is very a keen aspect to attain moksha, which is paramarthika. So what I meant by paramarthika is moksha, the ultimate purushartha, where each and every karma, any karma, it could be any karma, any action or any ritual, we can find all these layers to each and every ritual or any practice. So if we keep on exploring the same ritual with different perceptions, you find the inner and higher level of the karma, the higher level of what you call purpose of the karma. So ultimately, everything is directed towards moksha in Sanatana tradition. So even the concepts which I am going to explore hereafter are directed towards moksha, that is the paramarthika aspect, starting from the bhautika aspect. So each and every aspect, each and every concept has a bhautika, daivika, adhyatmika and paramarthika aspects to it. And the core of each and everything is paramarthika. In this way, any karma will lead to artha and kama bound with dharma or dharma, and ultimately to moksha. So this is what I thought of putting forward my view upon it. So coming to so my presentation is a very small and very crisp. I wanted to be very small one. So now the concepts which I wish to present are, I divided them into, that they can be divided into 4 types. That is concepts associated with the establishment of gardens. That is Arama Pratishtha, Kshudrarama Pratishtha, Pushparama Pratishtha, and concepts related to water bodies. That is Pushkarani Pratishtha, Jalashaya Pratishtha, Nalini, Vapi, Hradadi Pratishtha, and concepts related to plantation in general and specific. So some Pratishtha Vidhanas are there for specific plants, and normal plantation methods for everything, common method for everything. That is Ashwatha Pratishtha, Vatavriksha Pratishtha, Bilva Vriksha Pratishtha. So I took these. And a concept, I found one concept related to the allotment of ground for cattle nourishment. So mainly cows. Here the cattle I meant was cows. So that is Go Prachara Upsarga Pratishtha. So I will be just dealing with one concept belonging to each and every division hereafter. So normally Arama Pratishtha, Arama means a garden. Man-made vanam or man-made forest is called as Arama, and here it would be garden. And Kshudrarama is a smaller garden, and Pushparama is a garden of plants which blooms flowers. And Pushkarani is very famous. We have water bodies that are there in premises of temples and etc. These are called as Pushkaranis. And Jalashaya is another form of water body. Vapi, Hrada is also there. Are some are small, some are big, and some are directed towards farming, and some are directed towards drinking purposes. So in these ways, the name would be different, and even the procedure is also a bit different for these things. And Ashwatha Vriksha, Vatavriksha, and Bilva Vriksha, so these are considered to be sacred trees, and even the Pratishtha Vidhana is also a bit different from one another. So Go Prachara is something very unique thing. So this is a land where it is left, it is given, it is dedicated to cattle. Only it is dedicated towards the cattle may come there, feed, and just roam around. So this is the main purpose of this Go Prachara Bhumi. So even that also has a separate Pratishtha Vidhana for it. So here, if you see, the word Pratishtha is used. So normally Pratishtha means putting something, but here the Pratishtha is used in the sense of consecration, as in Vigraha Pratishtha that we find in temples. So Vigraha Pratishthas in temples have an elaborated ritual, which it is a transforming ritual where a mere carved stone or a piece of a metal is transformed into a living embodiment of the particular devata. So this is called as, this is the concept of consecration. So here, the word Pratishtha is used in the sense of consecration. So here also, a sapling is, or a tree, a particular tree is considered as is transformed through these rituals into a living embodiment of devatas. So this is something where directly you start believing, or you start seeing it as a form of devata. So from a mere tree aspect. So this is the that is why the word Pratishtha is used everywhere. And then there are some common things in these Pratishtha Vidhanas. That is, first they invoke certain devatas in maybe kalashas, sometimes on leaves or on flowers and etc. After, so this is a normal regular puja vidhana. If anyone is regular, a ritual, whoever performs rituals regularly, they will know this very easily. So first we have to invoke that, we have to do avahana of particular devatas, and then we give ahutis to those devatas through homa, but then we perform homa, and then pratishtha is performed. So this is the way in which we perform a pratishtha. It could be even for vigrahas or anything, but this is the puja vidhana we follow everywhere normally. Even these pratishtha vidhanas also follow this structure. So there are different pratishthas, and the duration of these pratishthas vary from 1 to 3 days. So some pratishthas they are done in 1 day, some are 2 days, some are 3 days. So it goes like that. So they are very much extensively described in Bhavishya Purana. So first one is I wish to explain about Arama Pratishtha, which comes under the a garden, concepts related to establishment of gardens. So first day, it's a 2-day ritual. And on the first day, Navagrahas, Brahma, Ananta, Varuna, Vishwaksena are invoked in kalashas, which are filled with water. And then Vamadeva, Kamala, Sankarshana, Vimala, Soma, Chandra, Indra, Jayanta, Akash, Agni, Ishvara, Tatpurusha, Vayu, and Mahadeva are invoked on betel leaves, and Vasudeva on the lotus. So on the lotus, Vasudeva is invoked, and then there is again we have to perform a homa to all these Vasudeva, Soma, Shiva, Ganesha, Brahma, Varuna, Navagraha, and 7 Agni Jihvas, Karali, Bhumali, Shveta, Lohita, Kanakaprabha, Atirakta, and Padmarabha Raga are 7 Agni Jihvas, Sapta Jihvaha. Agni is said to be having 7 tongues. So these are the 7 Jihvas of Agni, and Agni Shoma, then Indra, Antariksha, and Prithvi with different types of Havidravyas. So each and the homa is performed for some devatas only with ajya, that is ghee, cow ghee, and some with paramanam, that is a payasam made of cow milk. So some with samit, that is it could be palasha samit or anything. So something like this. So the homa is again it should be it is followed by a homa, and here we find an interesting description of Prithvi Devata. So Mother Earth, so that's what we call. So we have a description of her. It goes something like this: Shuddha Kanchana Varnabham Varabhayakaram Shubham Mandukastham cha Dvibhujam Sarvalankara Sundarim. So this is the description that we find of Prithvi Devata. So she's said to be seated upon a manduka, that is a frog, and she's having 2 hands, one in Abhaya Mudra and one in Varada Mudra, and she's glowing like anything, and she's decorated with many Sarvabharana Sarvalankara Sundari. So she is decorated with all kind of ornaments and etc. So this is something unique that I found to be. So we normally keep on saying Mother Earth and Mother Earth. I think we, based on this, maybe we can even have a form of Mother Earth as we have a form of Mother India. And then there is something interesting that happens after the homa. It is prescribed that we have to install a Upastambha. So here Upastambha is something people who are well-read in Mimamsa will understand the concept of Upastambha. So normally Upastambha is the trunk of a Khadira Vriksha, a tree called Khadira. The trunk of a tree of Khadira Vriksha is cut and it is taken. And actually Upastambha is not a physical embodiment. Actually it is a mixture of drishta and adrishta aspects. So it has a drishta aspect.
Srinath Garu, how many more slides you have? Can you just lessen the details of the puja vidhana and go to only environmental concepts and quickly pass through the slides?
Yes, sir. Actually, this was my I was just about to. Actually, the slides are all full of details only. So the main concept behind this thing was
the time that is left for us. Let us just
Yeah, I'll just complete it within 5 minutes. Is that okay? Within 5 minutes, I'll be completing. Okay. So there is this. Okay. So I'll skip that, and then we can go to Karnavedha Samskara. So there is a Samskara for trees also. So normally a Karnavedha Samskara is piercing the ears. So that is normally performed to only humans. But here we even find that the Karnavedha Samskara is also there for trees. So this is something again unique thing that I found. And afterwards, after all this, the Yajamana says, Vrikshagrat patitasyapi arohat patitasya cha marane vastibhangeva karmay karta papair nalipyate. So here we find that the Yajamana says that whoever falls from climbing the trees of the garden, at times he may get injured or he may die. But I, as a Yajamana of this what you call arama, I should not be entangled with the papam of his injury or death. So that is what he wishes. And then fine, then we can go for Pushkarani Pratishtha. So Pushkarani is normally a water body that is dug in rectangular square shape. So here Varuna is the main devata. An idol made of silver of Varuna Deva is to be placed on the on a platform, and Varuna Deva's puja is done. And afterwards, then the idol is submerged into the Pushkarani, stating that I am dedicating this Pushkarani to Varuna Deva, who is an avatar of Mahavishnu. By dedicating this Pushkarani, Varuna, I may achieve the punyam that is equivalent to Agnishtom punyam. So this is, in this we can know that by creating a Pushkarani, the person who dedicates a land to Pushkarani gets as a reward for that Pushkarani is Agnishtoma punyam is the reward of that. And again another here interesting fact is something called as Nagayashti has to be installed. So this Nagayashti is symbol of Nagadevata, and at the same time it will even help in knowing the depth of the water. Also this Nagayashti will be very much useful. And afterwards you release fish, tortoise and shaivala. Shaivala is a kind of a grass which grows inside water. So you put them so that the ecology of the water is also preserved. And then we go to Bilva Pratishtha. So this is a 2-day this thing. So Bilva is very much associated to Shiva. So there is something called as Jaladhivasa. So normally Adhivasas are performed in the Vigraha Pratishtha, as I told you before. Normally there we have Pushpadhivasa, Dhanyadhivasa and etc. But here we have Jaladhivasa. That is you submerge the roots of the Bilva Vriksha into water for 1 day. And then you perform Archana to Rudra, Kubera and Durga. And in the second day, you dig a pit and you plant the Bilva sapling and you fasten some red thread to it. And then again, you perform Archana to Shiva, Vishnu, Brahma and etc. And a Homa at the same time and perform Karnavedha and give a Arghya to Savitri. And then there comes this Goprachara Bhumi that I was, I told you previously. So this Goprachara Bhumi, the main purpose of Goprachara Bhumi is that the land is dedicated to nourishment of the cattle, so that the cattle can go there, roam, feed themselves, and etc. So the Goprachara Bhumi is it is said that it should not be on the south or southeast direction of a village or a city. So apart from that, in any direction from the village or city, Goprachara Bhumi can be there. And afterwards, coming to the thing, there is a unique thing that here in the eastern border, plants have to be planted. On the southern border, there is a Setubandha. Setubandha is nothing but a water body, open water body on the southern border, and a well should be dug in the northern border. and Agnigriham, that is a place where people can perform Agnihotra in the western border. So these are the borders defined for a Goprachar Bhumi. So he says that I dedicate this land to the cows in the end. So here there is some an interesting aspect to it. That is, no one has authority to plow this Goprachara Bhumi. No one can reap any financial benefits from this land. No one can claim ownership to this land. Whoever violates these rules are subjected to Brahmahatya Papa, so that no one can touch that land. It is left over to only cattle nourishment. Recently, I suppose in UP there was an issue where a Gochara Bhumi was allotted as a crematorium or something. I have gone through it in Twitter. So even today we have that tradition. By knowing that, I came to know that even today we have that tradition. So what is the reward for this? It is Sarva Papa Panutya and Swargaloka. So, so that is this. So we have, as we know, here we have some rewards or phalam for each and every ritual. Wherever you do not find any phala or a reward, then you have to relate it to the Karma Yoga Siddhanta and relate it eventually to moksha. So this is what I felt. So I'll just chant this mantra from Manu Suktam and शांता पृथिवी शिवमंतरिक्षं द्यौर्नो देव्यभयन्नो अस्तु शिवादिशः प्रदिश उद्दिशो न आपो विश्वतः परिपान्तु सर्वतः शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः.
Namaskara, Srinivas Garu. Excellent paper. It's a plantation and all that, which is considered to be a modern ecological activity by ecological environmental activists, has been proved to be well established in the Puranas, in our scriptural sources. And when it is mentioned also that it is Riksharopana or Katakodhara, all these vratas are there in the Puranas. Very rarely we see the details of the actual ritual. This particular Bhavishya Purana has all the details of those rituals. You might have noticed in one of those rituals, there is a Karnaveda Sanskara for a tree also. So the tree is treated as if it is
and even I didn't even cover. There is even Annaprashana Samskara to tree also.
Annaprashana Samskara for a tree.
So you actually give the payasam to tree first time after creating a garden.
Is it not so moving? See, you are treating the tree as a being. You are feeding it. You are doing everything that you do to a human being. Excellent, Srinivas Garu. Thank you very much. If there are questions, we'll take up. Let me check if there are any questions particularly. Okay.
One, what is the meaning of fastening the thread? That is, you tie a thread in the what you call near the root. So actually it has two meanings. That is, as it is an embodiment of Devata, a raksha is given in, if you convert it, if you see from the spiritual aspect, and from the normal this thing, maybe it gives strength to the sapling to grow further.
Okay. And there is one question from Dr. Yogini Vyasji. What is the actual reference of Manu Suktam? Where does it occur? What is the number of mantra?
It is the last mantra of Manu Suktam that I have recited now. It is the last mantra. I think it is. I have to see the reference particular number, but this is the last mantra. By this mantra, Manu Suktam ends. Actually.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Srinivas Garu.